You know, every business runs on payments, but getting them right, that's a constant battle. I mean, if you pay too early, you're hurting your cash flow. But if you pay too late, you risk damaging supplier relationships. So today, we're going to explore how automation can turn this whole balancing act from a source of chaos into a real strategic advantage.
We're going to tackle this in 3 parts. First, we'll look at the problems with doing things the old-fashioned, manual way. Then, we'll dive into the automated solution. And finally, we'll talk about the real business impact of making that switch. All right, let's dive into our first section. What really happens when you're trying to manage a mountain of payments completely by hand? It's not always pretty.
So first, let's get on the same page. What are we actually talking about here? Well, payment scheduling is all about making sure your supplier payments are spot on. And it's not just about paying on time, it's about being accurate and, crucially, following all the business rules. Things like payment terms, your cash flow priorities, and all that fun compliance stuff. Now, in a typical manual setup, the hero, or maybe the villain of the whole story, is the spreadsheet. Yep, this is where accounts payable teams are trying to juggle, well, everything. Tracking all the due dates, chasing down approvals, and just trying to get a handle on all the payments that are coming up. And this is exactly where the problems creep in. Relying on spreadsheets creates some very real risks. You could miss out on early payment discounts, which is basically leaving free money on the table. You could end up paying late, which damages those crucial supplier relationships. Or worse, you might accidentally pay the same invoice twice. It happens. And all of this leads to a dangerously foggy view of your cash flow. But listen, there is a much, much smarter way to handle all this. So let's move on to our second section and explore the automated solution. The contrast you see here is really the whole story. The manual process, it's often disorganized, totally reactive. You're always just putting out fires. Automation completely flips that. It creates a structured, rule-driven system that is consistent and reliable, taking all of the guesswork and human error out of the equation. So how does this automated system actually work? Well, it all kicks off the second an invoice is approved. From that point on, the system just takes over. It runs a smart evaluation before grouping those invoices together for a perfectly optimized payment run. And this is the magic right here, what this system thinks about. It's not just looking at a due date on a calendar. No, it's analyzing a bunch of factors all at once. The specific terms you have with that vendor, any discounts you might be eligible for, and, this is a big one, your organization's actual cash availability at that moment. And all that thinking leads to this final brilliant step. Instead of just paying invoices one by one as they come up, the system intelligently groups them into what's called a payment run. Think of it as a single optimized batch that makes sure everything gets paid in the most efficient and financially sound way possible. Okay, so what does all this cool automation actually mean for a business in the real world? Let's get into our final section and look at the actual impact. The benefits inside the company are immediate and pretty significant. Automation makes sure payments are timed perfectly to optimize your cash flow and grab any available discounts. It drastically cuts down on the human errors that are just so common in manual systems, and it really strengthens your internal controls, giving you a much, much tighter grip on your finances. For finance teams, this is an absolute game changer. Instead of just guessing, you get a crystal clear view of your upcoming liabilities. This chart here shows how you can accurately forecast your cash needs for the next 30, 60, even 90 days out. That kind of foresight is absolutely vital for strategic planning. And the positive impact doesn't just stop inside your own company. Think about it from your supplier's perspective. They go from getting unpredictable payments and having to make constant follow-up calls to getting a reliable, predictable payment schedule. This builds so much trust and just reduces the administrative headache for everyone involved. So, when you pull it all together, the outcomes are truly strategic. You're not just tweaking a single process here. You're creating a more efficient company, building way stronger supplier relationships, and putting your entire financial operation on a much more solid foundation. You know, this quote from our source material really just says it all. Automating payment scheduling isn't some small tactical tweak. It's a strategic move that boosts efficiency, enhances your partnerships, and strengthens your financial health across the entire board. So we'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Whether it's in missed discounts, time wasted on manual tasks, or strained supplier relationships, how much opportunity is currently locked away, just hidden inside your own payment process?